On this vote, the yeas are 210 and the nays are 216. The concurrent resolution is not adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on the adoption of House Concurrent Resolution number 64, on which the yeas and the nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 64, concurrent resolution to direct the removal of United States Armed Forces from hostilities within or against Venezuela that have not been authorized by Congress.
The question is on adoption of the concurrent resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 213. The concurrent resolution is adopted. Not adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
The answer is that this is not about drugs. This is about regime change. And we also have the White House Chief of Staff on record saying that this is about regime change. It has nothing to do with drugs. I rise today in strong support of this resolution. I am proud to co-lead Ranking Member Meeks' effort and urge all of my colleagues to join us today in reasserting this body's constitutional authority on matters of war and peace. Because let's be perfectly clear, only Congress has the power to declare war. The Trump administration's military escalation in the Caribbean is not only reckless, it is blatantly illegal. We cannot allow this kind of dangerous overreach to go unchecked. Trump, a president who touts himself as a global peacemaker, has appointed himself as judge, jury, and executioner in the Western Hemisphere. This brutal military campaign, which has killed more than 90 people, further threatens a region that has already been destabilized by decades of U.S. intervention. And it risks driving us into further war in Venezuela.
This resolution would prohibit the President of the United States from using all the tools at his disposal in the fight against designated terrorist organizations in the Western Hemisphere. These are the same narco-terrorists who are waging and have been waging a war on the American people through the use of deadly drugs and poison that are flooding into our country. Let's talk about reality, not about rhetoric. First of all, the number one job of any government is to protect its people. Since September 11, 2001, roughly 4,000 Americans have been killed inside the United States, either by al-Qaeda, ISIS, and similarly ideologically linked terrorist groups. Meanwhile, since 2021, and I'm not talking back to 2001, nearly 400,000 Americans have died from overdose poisoning, deaths fueled by foreign terrorist organizations, including the Venezuelan regime, and violent cartels operating in our own backyard.
Mr. Speaker, this war powers resolution would immediately end President Trump's extrajudicial boat strikes in the Western Hemisphere, which have never been approved by Congress and far exceed the President's authority. We are a country of laws. Individuals in the streets have to abide by our laws. The President of the United States should be abiding by our laws. And our laws, you convict somebody in court. You can't just go out and kill them. War is not a game. There's rules in war. When people violate rules in war, they have to be held accountable. When people violate rules in our cities, they have to be held accountable. And the people who are in positions, law enforcement officers, police officers, presidents of the United States, have to be held responsible. You close your eyes on one, and our country is not the country that we have said and have been. I said earlier on the floor, during this debate, my war powers resolution to end this administration's extrajudicial strikes on boats in the Western Hemisphere, those bombs, are not about drugs. If the administration did want to stop drugs, Trump would not have pardoned that former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, or Ross Ulbricht, who operated the Silk Road drug marketplace.
Let's be honest about likely outcomes. Do we truly believe that Nicolas Maduro will be replaced by a modern-day George Washington? How did that work out? In Cuba, Libya, Iraq, or Syria, previous presidents told us to go to war over WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, that did not exist. Now it's the same playbook, except we're told that drugs are the WMDs. If it were about drugs, we'd bomb Mexico, or China, or Colombia, and the president would not have pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez. This is about oil and regime change. And when it comes to regime change, we've already been down this road with Venezuela with nothing to show for it. In 2019, we recognized Juan Guaido. We seized their embassy here in D.C. We were told that regime change was imminent. Years later, Maduro remains in power.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download Metro TV Extend sekarang.